We're here at Simsbury Gallery down in London, and we are talking to the two prestigious artists, Temsu and Katherine, who are presenting their new show titled Drop Shadows. I'm so looking forward to having a quick chat with you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down. Let's get into it. Because you've had a long friendship for about 20 years, haven't you? And this is your first exhibition that you're actually doing together. Where does that form with this exhibition together?
Do you want to say it?
Well, as students, we were working for other artists. So the first person that I worked for was a lady called Brenda Hartill, who was a printmaker. I'm mainly a printmaker. And we were helping her out with printing, and Temsu joined, and we've just been really good friends ever since then. It's quite an intense thing working for so long together. So you're together for 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day printing, so it's quite intense, and you get to know each other really well.
Absolutely, it forms a really strong connection. Do you feel that your friendship has evolved your artworks together?
I think, yeah, it goes back to like 2005, isn't it, when we first met, and then ever since, like, I think, and even professionally, our career has like overlapped on several occasions, and I think like, but we have never because also we worked in diverse mediums as well, but we never had the opportunity to show together. So I think this has been a fantastic opportunity. And of course we do we go to shows together, but never really thought about having an exhibition together.
It's quite a big triumph, isn't it? You've spent all these years together, actually now presenting your artworks together, especially in London, in such a fantastic gallery space like Simsbury, is really a true triumph. And what you're doing now is really, really spectacular. Your medias that you work in you've ranged from printmaking, but with this exhibition, you're focusing more on painting and sculptures and stuff like that. What do you not see your prints featuring in this exhibition?
So there are prints in this exhibition of mine, and I've always been a printmaker, but the prints kind of conclude the work. The other work that I do, I've always painted as well, but that's always been under the radar. So I suppose this is the first time where the painting has kind of taken precedence. And then...
That's fantastic. Drop Shadows is an amazing opportunity for your painting to actually come out of the shadows, isn't it? And actually really present itself in front of an audience. Does that scare you at all for changing your media that you're really well known for?
I find it petrifying every time I show work that I really care about. It doesn't get any easier. Every time it's always kind of slightly nerve-wracking. I mean, really, most people are coming to support us. They maybe like the work, but they don't have huge kind of anticipation about it. It's not a reflection of how people feel about the work. It's more how you personally are feeling about it. And because I care about it, I suppose, yes, it's an intense thing. Have I answered the question?
Absolutely, yes, yeah.
I think
you have.
What is quite unusual about Katie's work is also Katie's practice, if I may. I think most of the time it's painters or sculptors, they use printmaking as a secondary, a medium. But I think Katie, she reverses that role. She has been painting more as a preliminary work for printmaking, which is very unusual. I think that I find it quite unique, yeah.
It's fantastic for actually what you're doing now, though. And you mentioned about the fears of presenting your artwork in front of an audience never quite disappears. Do you feel that as well?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, you make it in your intimate little spaces, and once it's out there, it'll speak their own language. People will have their own interpretation, and it's beyond your control.
There's a nice safety of when your artwork's in your studio, and then it's almost activated once it's presented in front of an audience.
Yeah, it's a bit like, I suppose, how, I don't have a child, but how you would feel it, when you have a child, you are together in this little household for a long time, and once they reach that age, they go out and you can't do much about it. But I think there's kind of excitement in that kind of
It's nerve-wracking, but that's all part of the excitement, isn't it? That's all part of being an artist. That's what people that are coming into this space at the moment need, and they forget a lot of the time that it's going to be nervous, and that fear never really goes away. Would you have any tips that you'd suggest for up-and-coming artists coming into the space?
I think personally, did you want to say something? I would say, like, I think try to be true to yourself. I think at the end of the day, that's the only thing that matters. And yeah, I think
that's really good. Quite often we get a lot of people saying this, that, and other, but that's quite straight to the point. I really like that. I admire that. The term drop shadows, that's the title for this exhibition. How did you come up with that title, Drop Shadows?
It's Katie's, yeah.
It's your idea.
It's the title for a piece of work, and I'm not. It's kind of got lost in the mists of of what we've been doing, but I think I felt that it was a really nice way of expressing the way one object affects another, or one thing affects another through the light that's shed on it. So how one object can obscure another, or affect. So I think and I love Temsu's incredible sculptures that he's made, lots and lots of terracottas. I mean, Temsu's work is hugely wide-ranging. There's lots of installation, a lot of installation, sound, and all sorts of things. I mean, you've done the Venice Biennale, Venice Film Festival last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, Temsu did the Venice Film Festival last year, and he had a huge installation called Home, which was multimedia installation.
Yeah. Mm. But I think like us, we have like, first of all, we share same birthday. Not the same year, but it's the same day.
What a mold, that's great.
And we have it's over 20 years we have had this friendship, and also even today, I think we somehow,
the outfits, they work.
Always happen.
Was this planned or?
No,
it just got thrown together.
So yeah, I think even in terms of thematically as well, in terms of our artworks, I think there's lots of overlapping, not consciously, but it has been like that. And the shadow, in terms of, I think how we chose the title, it came out in one of the conversations when Katie was explaining about her work to the other Katherine, the curator. And we all liked it, and especially Katherine, she liked it. But in terms of shadows, I think I've also been working on shadows for quite a while. And when that Drop Shadows, Katie's title, turned up, I really liked it. And Katherine, she really liked it. And
that's true. One of the first pieces that I had anything to do with of yours was a piece that was a projection, which was projected onto the floor of dancers. But it was cutting out the dancers' bodies, but actually leaving these amazing shadows of the dancing bodies. With a soundtrack, and that was a very long time ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's continued to be a theme in your work.
In fact, we filmed Katie's partner. He's a brilliant musician as well, and we filmed hoping that I will get to extract a shadow of their. It was a 3-person performance, cellist, violin and guitar, and somehow I've never managed to finish the project. It's still an ongoing one. This is 10 years old.
That's just part of being an artist, though, isn't it? The artworks that you have in your mind and you work on, it's never quite finished. Even when you do present an artwork, you can still look at it and go, I could have done this better, or I should have changed that. But when people look at artworks, they'll never see the mistakes. Only the artist actually sees what they did wrong, what they could have done better. The inspiration behind your artworks, what is that? Because they're so broad, they're so dynamic. You both have very mixed artworks that you create and present for an audience. What's the inspiration behind your works, Katherine?
So for this exhibition, there's been quite a lot of botanical themes coming up, but also this kind of slightly anthropomorphic idea, which Temsa often has as well. I'm amazed, having had a few conversations about a year ago about this show, and then sort of gradually working together and showing each other pieces as they sort of came up. I'm amazed how coherent the whole show ended up looking, because we are quite different artists.
Absolutely.
And you know, it's quite a leap of faith, really. I mean, for Katherine to have introduced the idea of us showing together, which I was really grateful for. It wouldn't have occurred to me to have done it, but as soon as she suggested it, I thought, you know, that was a brilliant idea.
Absolutely. I think it's come together so amazingly well. The way it's presented, the gallery itself, you couldn't ask for a better place to present these artworks. And it works. Like all the books and everything here, everything molds together. And for your artworks, Temsu, what's the inspiration behind a lot of your works that you create?
So in this show, I'm showing a series of work, which are all terracotta pieces, where I'm exploring ideas of our human body as a macrocosm of events in the universe and vice versa. And also, like Katie and I think our works are similar in that I think we are taking our immediate surrounding as a starting point. But also, I think it's quite interesting to see how, despite the similarities in the origin of the idea, how different they are in terms of interpretation and in terms of the way it has branched out. So I think, yeah.
That's fantastic. Your artwork definitely goes from sculptures to multimedia artworks, and you presented at the Venice Film Festival last year. How did you find that impacted your work, or as a triumph?
I think I've always, personally in my work, I know there's lots of talk about, there's always a thing about consistency in sticking to a medium and things like that. And somehow I've never managed to stick to one medium. I think perhaps it's just, my brain is just not wired that way. It's always first of all, what I do is when I have an idea, I try and find a medium that would best embody it, that would best translate it. So I try and find a medium accordingly. So that's why I think my mind's quite scattered. So I think I work with many different themes as well. So that's how I end up working in different mediums.
Absolutely, that's really good. Now, being based in London, you guys have such a broad history of where you've presented.
I've recently become an RA.
How did you manage to get into doing that?
There's a process of being elected, and so you don't really have much say.
So they just knew that your artwork was amazing, you're a great human being, and your art is astounding. So they just knew, and you were just like, yeah, I'll be part of the Royal Academy.
You definitely, yeah. I mean, some people do say no to it, but yeah, it's definitely not something I would say no to.
Absolutely, that's amazing.
It's an amazing institution.
Yeah, it's a fantastic, amazing. I think there's so limited a place in that to be an academician, and I think
it's so prestigious.
Only when someone dies, one gets, don't put this, but it's something like that, isn't it?
One in, one out.
Yeah, it's that way. So it's
really impressive.
Yeah.
But in the London art scene, what you guys are doing is amazing. Where do you see your artwork going for the future?
Wow, that's
the tricky
so
question.
massive. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, I think, like I was saying, it's up to the work and how people perceive them, and it's out in the wild now, and I really don't have a control over it. I'll see how it goes, where it goes. Yeah.
Absolutely. What about you, Katherine?
I'm really enjoying the dialogue between printmaking and painting at the moment, because having made prints for so long, and that having been my sort of main thing, I really like the spontaneity of the painting sort of coming in between each printed work. So I feel like it's quite a nice space at the moment, so I'm just going to stick with it for a little bit.
That makes sense.
See
if it's
how it
working and you're
goes.
enjoying
Yeah.
it, that's the biggest thing. You got to enjoy what you're doing and creating, and especially together. It's a clear example of what you've created is something that you've really enjoyed doing together. You've clearly enjoyed putting this together, and the curation of this exhibition is absolutely astounding.
So I'd just like to give a little plug to Sims Reed and Catherine Oliver, who have been amazing at putting this show together, and I couldn't be happier. Also, the provenance of this space is brilliant for a printmaker or for printmakers. Temsuyanger also makes a lot of prints.
Absolutely.
Because they're an antiquarian book dealer, they deal in 20th century prints. So you often I've often come past this space and looked in and seen beautiful Hockneys and, all sorts of amazing secondary market prints.
The gallery's so diverse for what they
It
present
is,
at
yeah.
Sims Reed, and to actually exhibit your artworks here now must be really, you must feel such a sense of pride to have people in London walk past this shop every day and see your artworks just on display in such an amazing gallery.
Totally.
It's amazing. Well, your exhibition opens up this evening and is on until what date? 14th. And you're going to do absolutely amazingly for it. And I wish you guys the absolute best of luck. And your artworks are so amazing. I'm going to have a little look around at some more of the artworks in detail. Thank you so much for taking the time to have a quick chat with us. And I wish you the best of luck for all this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.